So we just got done with our Hall of Fame brunch, and you were there. Really appreciate you helping us with that. And Scott was there. Scott Preble's the superintendent. But this year, three people who you worked with distinctly were there and were inducted. So I'm going to ask you about this. But before we go there, one of the other people was Kurt Cruz, and you never knew Kurt, but you know his legacy.
Absolutely. Kurt Cruz is a legend around here. And every year, as the custodial crew drags out the framework for the living Christmas tree, I hear the stories of how that was constructed and the original idea that came into it. But, between that and the Cruz family sponsoring a scholarship in Mr. Cruz's name, I've had the privilege of having some of the grandchildren come through the school and having a chance to get to know them. But there's a man who just made an imprint on Bay High School and the traditions that he established with the choral program. Devin Guess has done an amazing job of picking up his work and moving that program forward, but has kept a lot of those traditions intact. And
Absolutely.
Whether it be songs at the end of the concert and the invitation of the alumni to join the choir on stage, to the Christmas tree and that holiday concert being 2 nights of sold-out concerts at Bay High School, that's Kurt's legacy that still lives on in Bay.
It sure is. And, Devin's done a great job. They had a good relationship. And I guess, Devin's mom was in Kurt's choir, And Brian did tell me, Brian, the head custodian here, that when he put the tree together, he goes, this thing's never going away. He was sweating. He was, it's built like something that would have been built in the late 50s. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about Chuck Robertson, who was just inducted into our Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was fascinating to listen to the stories of Chuck as he was inducted there, because he was a legendary business teacher. But when I started at Bay, he had switched over and become a guidance counselor. And he was working in the guidance office, but the thing that remained true was he knew every kid's name. He had a relationship with every kid, and his passion for helping kids, it didn't change. His title may have changed, but from the stories that I heard over the weekend, who he was remained consistent regardless of the role he had here at Bay High School.
He would stand anywhere, and he knew every kid walking down the hall. Absolutely. And he, whether you were doing the right things or the wrong things, he'd call you out, and normally in a funny way.
Yeah.
But you heard talk about his mock trials and all those things. It was pretty amazing. So then Dick Scott.
Yeah, so there's another Bay Village legend, and people on the staff who worked with him still to this day talk about him. And some of the phrases that he came up with to help you remember the importance of making healthy choices, I think one of our school counselors may still have a poster that was made in Mr. Scott's room hanging in her office as a reminder to make positive choices. The thing that amazed me about Dick at his induction was, the man has not lost an ounce of energy or a step since he retired from Bay High School.
Not at all. He gave you a good run for your money on the volume side, too.
Absolutely.
Neither one of you needed over a microphone when you talk. But the energy at his age and the passion, and that's what it was all the time. And people very much appreciated going through his classes. And he really changed that. Like when he talked about quest for life skills or life living or whatever it was, we put that on our Bay Alumni Facebook page, and people talked about the impact it had in their lives. So it was great to see that energy.
Yeah. Well, and he's still teaching, as he pointed out. It might be pickleball, but he's still teaching.
That's right.
He's never lost that drive for education.
That's true. And then I got to know Ann Mowry through this induction thing. Talk about brilliant.
Absolutely. Her Halloween labs at Bay High School, the hours that she spent putting those together, and just her passion for showing off science to kids and inspiring them, those labs were absolutely second to none. They were unbelievable to see the kids, and kids really got excited about it when she opened it up, and she'd open them up in the evening and invite the community to come up and kind of create that science night atmosphere. Her love of what she did, her understanding, the amount of personal equipment that she owned to help teach the concepts of physics to students, it was insane. When she moved out of here, the boxes that just kept coming out of the door because they were all things she bought
Yeah.
to make sure her kids had the best learning experience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And they really talked about the people who nominated her, said her classes were stunning. And she did a really good video talking about how the advent of the cell phone made a big difference in the way the kids could do testing and do all those kind of things. It really sounds like it was a special moment for some kid that got to be in her class.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great. So we had a wonderful class this year. Again,
Tremendous.
thanks for being there with us.